Scott, how are you today?
I am doing good. Very, very busy. Started off the morning with Adobe. Then I went, did a photo op with, must have been 150 people. Wow. With Sony. And then went back and did another presentation for Adobe on color grading. But now I'm back here.
Wow. Wow. Maybe put the microphone just a little bit closer.
There you go.
Now I can hear you.
You like it like this?
I like it like that. Hey, that song.
You, you're going 32-bit, right? So
Oh my God, I can do whatever I want with this thing. But we also have this thing right here too as a backup.
oh, okay.
So
Great.
So Scott, you mentioned Sony. You mentioned Adobe. Is that what brought you here to Bild Expo?
Yeah, I always wanted to do this convention, come to it, speak here, and so I reached out to Sony and says, "Hey, let me do a photo walk." Yeah. And then Adobe reached out, and then Godox reached out, and so I'm usually pretty busy speaking for, different vendors and so forth. But Sony being my main gig, and I love working for Sony.
How long have you been working with Sony for?
Oh man, I think I started when nobody else wanted Sony.
That's the way to start.
Like 2010.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and everybody was like, "What do you use? Are you really a professional?" And I got in on the ground floor. I always wanted to have a major camera brand behind me. I did a little bit of research and how I just loved the concept of mirrorless back then. And I said, you know what? These companies got to go somewhere. Let me jump on. They were like, "Who wants to use Sony?" Yes. I raised my hand. Yeah. I mean, literally in a weekend, they called me up and like, "What do you want?" I listed all this stuff, about $20,000 worth of stuff. "Okay, come and pick it up." I drove my station wagon down there, dumped it in, like, started with Sony.
Where are you based out of?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. I see a lot of brands here that would be similar to Sony when you started with them, small brands experimenting. So I take it, did they get a lot of feedback from you working with them?
Yeah, they were very good. They would invite us to this thing called condo. So all the ambassadors and the influencers would come, and then the text would ask you a ton of questions. What do you like about it? What are you paid about it? What's your wish list? And if you would have gone to if you would have said like in 2000 when I first started, Scott, you'll be helping to design the cameras of the future. I was, no way. But it just kind of shows you, you keep on moving forward inch by inch. And I tell people, you can go anywhere you want. Just got to be persistent, work hard, um, really perfect your craft. People want the shortcut all the time, of course, but you really got to perfect your craft and move forward and do something innovative to help to set your foot in the market and say, "Hey, nobody does this like this." And then that's how you kind of move forward. A lot of people ask me all the time, "Oh, how do you be a Sony artisan?" and all that kind of stuff. And I said, you got to do something at a very high level, and you got to be different. Like, how is your work setting you aside apart from all the others? And basically, that's how you do it, and just keep at it. Doesn't happen overnight, but you keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and you start making waves.
Sometimes it's a personality. Sometimes the brand itself. There's a lot of talented photographers everywhere, whether it's here, PPA, WPPI, they're all out there. Sometimes it's just the individual itself that the brand believes in, and that's what they invest in,
Yeah.
and that's where they put their money in.
Yeah, I wrote this book with like 3 steps in it. It's kind of like mastering your craft, right? And then one part of it is Mojo. And that's where the personality comes in, because you could be just as good as the other dude,
Yeah.
but because people like you, you're getting the job.
Right.
And that's so important of climbing those ranks, because like a company like Sony, they have the pick of the litter. I mean, right? They can choose anybody they want, so you got to have that special power, and that really helps you get in front of a lot of people.
How do you feel today's world, right? Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, etc. How much of a pull does how your audience interacts with you and vice versa? Does that come into play when you're working with brands?
Yeah, like for me, I'm not really great at social media. I know I have to do it. And it's so funny. It's like I look at my Instagram. Oh wow, I got 6,000 new subscribers this month. Oh, 6,500 unsubscribed. But so for me, it's about these events, speaking in front of people. I love that. I love this human interaction. This is where I come alive. And then people can shoot with me. They can ask me questions. We can get into deep conversations we would never have online, and that's where I connect with people.
Right.
And then those people want me to mentor them, or they'll go on an international workshop with me. And that's kind of like how I make my bread and butter is teaching and funneling people up into more higher and higher levels of mentorship and coaching.
I'm really intrigued about that. Before we get to that, how would you describe your work in a way that somebody who's not artistic would understand it?
I just think on location portraiture, like capturing beauty, like the beautiful background or scenery with the person that's also beautiful. So I'm like maxing out beauty. Beauty, beauty, beauty,
You're just turning up
beauty.
that knob.
Yeah, I'm just like give me the beautiful back, like city, Paris or whatever. Let's put up a beautiful person there, right there too.
Beautiful dress.
Like just maximize that beauty, turn it up to number 11, and that's basically how with beautiful lighting, portraiture, right, or just a person like finding their sweet spot where they look best and maximizing that beauty. That's what I love. And I think that's what draws people to my work. It's because we're all kind of triggered towards beauty because that's the closest thing to perfection. So we're all drawn to perfection, and that's what beauty is. And just like, sports, right? We're always after the person who like, Tiger Woods or whoever, Michael Jordan, people who he consistently produce at a high level and have high success, which is drawn to them. And that's what kind of beauty is.
I believe that. I believe that. From an artistic side, is art something that flows in your family, or are you the only artistic band?
You know that, okay, I'm glad you asked that. My uncle was the first Asian photojournalist in the entire country.
Huh.
Yeah. And then so I inherited his photos. He had a lot of war photos and he worked for the newspaper and things like that. And I was looking through his records. And what's funny was he was born on the exact same day I was.
That is
Right? Is that trippy?
that is trippy.
And so, growing up, I didn't have a good connection with him because he kind of had a alcohol problem. Art. You know what I mean? Art. And so I was talking to the but Scott, back in the old days, they'd shoot their 2 rolls of film, head to the bar and drink, and that was their lifestyle. And so like I would see him at Christmas and then to get a little tipsy at the end of the party. And that made me, I was only like, 8 years old and that would scare me. So I didn't really get to know him, but I really wish I was older to ask him all these questions about, photographing and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, it does run in my family a little bit. And then also my first cousin, she's like, she became a famous fashion designer and she was also on American's Next Top Model and her stuff was featured there. Her name was Colleen Gwen. So it does kind of run in my family, but personally, I never saw myself that growing up. I was always into science, kind of a nerd, right? And I couldn't assimilate into the real world until I realized and admitted I was an artist because I was trying to do the normal thing and I got to tell you, I'm the first Asian college dropout you'll ever meet in your entire life.
Do I put that in the lower third?
Yeah, that's me. And because I was going down this route that wasn't me. And then when I finally admitted to myself and found photography, I go, you know what? I'm a freaking artist.
So what was that though? What moment was that trigger point? What was the catalyst?
Oh, when I discovered photography, when I went to Europe with my wife back in 2000, no, 1999, I took 40 rolls of film And I remember that plane ride back, I discovered a passion. I liked photography when I was in junior high, but it really came out during that trip. And I remember looking, because they didn't have streaming or anything. I was looking at a photography magazine. I go, I wonder how far I could take photography, and I wonder if I could ever be published in a book like that. And that was the trigger to set me on and get me going with photography just to see how far I could take it. And I've had a great career from that ever since.
What's one of your favorite photos from way back when?
It's got to be when I was in Paris. I've took some awesome photos that I still today like. So it was black and white, and it was just, I think he went to Venice, and I shot through these little pillars with a little gondolier going or whatever. I don't know. And another one with this old school mailbox with this, tourists walking with their suitcase away. And I go, I still like those photos, some of those photos today. And so, anyways, yeah, I think those, I remember those most, those early ones.
Nice, nice. Now, I've been asking this to a lot of people. Have you been doing any personal projects lately?
Yeah. I mean, I think all the time I challenge myself with new things because, in this industry, I've been around it a long, you don't stay around if you're not innovating and doing new stuff. And so I love trying new things so I could teach it to my students. But now I've been messing around with AI and turning stills into video.
Isn't that amazing?
And it's incredible.
Yeah.
And I think you can shoot like a whole wedding in stills and turn it into a video, which is amazing. And so I've been doing that, posting that online, and people are like, "No way." Go, yeah.
It begs an interesting question, right? Do you ask the groom and the bride if you want to recreate an event that did happen, or like do you give them the option because it didn't happen, but you're recreating it?
Yeah, yeah,
Like weird
yeah,
delicate
yeah.
balance.
It's kind of weird. I think a lot of times when you do it, it's like a micro scene. It's not like something completely different. It works within the framework of that picture, so it's sort of related, right? But I've never actually done that. I've just, on my own, some of the pictures
Hasn't
I've,
fully get around with it.
yeah. And I came up with this whole scene one time. It was great. I said, this little 15-second scene, look, it was from one still, and people are like, oh, I can't believe that.
Now, Scott. Now, how many of those have you kept that are the bloopers where the arm like wails?
Oh, yeah. I mean, AI is getting better and better, but literally, I tell people, you got to do it 2 or 3 times until you like it, right?
Yeah.
And so now the artistry becomes the prompt, is how you describe it. But that still has a lot to do with photography because you can describe the lighting, you can describe the angle, the lens choice. So your skill in photography still comes to play when you describe the prompt, right? And so to me, it's all about revision. What is your vision? If you can creatively just like have different, express your vision,
Right.
you still can stay in this game. I remember, bro, when people were saying Photoshop was cheating way back in the day,
Oh, yeah.
they were saying like, "Oh, that's cheating. You got to get it in camera and all that stuff, right?" And then now they're kind of saying the same thing about AI. Oh, that's cheating, but it's still about your vision.
I get it right in camera out of mere convenience because I'm not that great in Photoshop. So that is why. That is the only reason why. But AI is the prompt aspect of it. Yeah, I never looked at it that way. That you can take the scene like that's right behind us, right, with the lighting that Sony's doing. But if you put that into the prompt, you can describe, okay, I want the light coming at 45 degrees, whatever, only one key light, maybe one key
Yeah.
light, and then you can create it.
Then the camera angle too.
But you would only know that if you do it.
Photographer, yeah, right.
Now, in regards to teaching people, you mentioned workshops, mentorships, and etc. Tell me a bit about your educational side.
Yeah. So I kind of evolved and went full time education about 15 years ago. And so I'm teaching every other week somewhere. And I love to kind of take people away, bring them to like a week. And I was just in Paris and Italy. Hey, come and then let's be absorbed in this. See how I shoot, ask me questions, let me evaluate your work, hands on, real life. I love doing that and helping people, then having deep conversations about their business, where they want to go. Maybe there's issues with their family that they're trying to overcome and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I really like is those deep relationships and those conversations to really help move people forward. But I need time with them. It's all about time, and if I can steal them away and just be with them, I can really help them. That's what I really enjoy.
Yeah, that one-on-one that happens with them, it's so critical because you gotta have their attention. Yeah. Get away from your phone, get away from distractions. Let's focus on this. And sometimes they may not remember everything, but the 10% that they may remember is enough to transform their business. So true, so true. Now, question, where can people find your work?
You could actually just go to Scott, my Instagram at Scott Robert Lim, and then I have a link tree there where you can see every workshop that I go to. I post it there, and then some of it is free. Maybe it's sponsored by Sony or something, and then some are paid. And then you'll see my more higher end workshops where I'm going to Cuba. I was just in Paris, Italy. I'm going to Japan next year, whatever. So I don't know. I kind of feel like I got the best job in the world.
That works. That works. Well, Scott, it's been great. It was great meeting you.
Yeah.
I wish I could see you at Peculiar, but I won't be there next year. But are you going to imaging or any other
Oh
conference?
yeah, I go to them all. WPPI, imaging, like yeah, I'm there.
Well, I'll see you at imaging for sure. I would definitely do that. First, Scott, it's a pleasure. Great meeting you. Great day. Thank you.